If milkshakes bring the boys to the yard, do the protein shakes bring the muscular men to the yard? This and more in today's podcast.
This is the Game of Food.
This is the Game of Food.
We're helping real people get real results with delicious food. Real food. Live from Spencer's home studio, podcasting to the world. This is Game of Food. And here's your host, Spencer Frederick.
Today we're talking about protein. If you've listened to my recent podcast, you know I'm kind of switching things up with the podcast. I'm doing tactical podcasts like this one. I'm calling them Tactics, and then I title it, Today is Tactics, Eat Your Protein. And I'm also going to do the food psychology stuff, the mindset stuff, the mental toughness episodes. But you guys wanted some tactical stuff, so we're going to talk about that today. It's going to be about protein. Also, I'm very surprised. I'm in multiple continents. Game of Food podcast is being listened to in multiple continents. I didn't realize that would be a thing. I thought it'd be like just in my state or like a little bit around the U.S., but no. More and more people are listening, and thank you. Now, if you like it, leave me a review. I would like to see what you like about it, what episode you think other people should listen to, and any other helpful tidbits. So leave a review, and I would really appreciate it. Okay, back to the topic. Let's talk about protein. First, what is protein? Protein is meat, it's dairy. There's protein in a lot of stuff. Beans, lentils, tofu, some vegetables probably have a little bit of protein in them, you know. But that's the protein sources. Now, what are the benefits of protein? Let's go over them quickly. I have my notes pulled up in front of me. So, reduces appetite and hunger levels. So it's a very filling, very satiating food, meaning you eat it and you don't have those cravings. You don't have the desire for late night snacking if you're getting proper amounts of protein. Increase muscle mass and strength. Now, you have the opportunity to do that if you are doing strength workout, some sort of resistant workout. So it has to be paired with some sort of strength workout and protein consumption. You can't just eat a steak and then tomorrow you are more muscular. It's good for your bones. We already talked about reducing cravings. Boost metabolism, which can help with fat burning. So just eating protein does not mean you're burning fat, okay? You need to be in a calorie deficit to burn fat. But it can boost metabolism. So protein is a little bit harder to digest than like a Skittle, okay? And so that requires more energy for us to digest. Also, if you are doing the strength workouts paired with protein, you're going to build a little bit of lean muscle mass, which will increase your metabolism. Not like sky high, but do that for 10 years and you will have a higher burning metabolism, making fat burning an easier process for you. Lowers blood sugar, helps maintain weight loss, and so many other benefits. But people aren't eating it. And how do I know this is because I've been doing nutritional programs for some time now, and protein is just something that people struggle with. They don't like chicken, it's too bland or dry. They don't like the protein shakes or the whey protein bars. They don't taste that good and stuff like that. And really, when I see client protein levels get down, really what it is it's just more comfort food comes in. Pasta, breads, candies, sugars, stuff like that actually replaces it. Now, I listened to an interesting study that was about the importance of protein and muscle mass, and they're actually looking at some pretty interesting correlations between diabetes and obesity and how we actually should be putting people on a muscle building plan, a strength building plan, which would require protein, versus some low-calorie extreme diet, which is actually, if you listen to me, you know that I preach that a little bit. I teach calorie deficit, but yeah, I would love to see everyone on a strength-building, muscle-building program to help correct so many of these lifestyle-related illnesses and ailments. Not only that, they mentioned in the study that they don't want people just sipping on protein shakes all day. So people have a tendency to, throw a chocolate whey protein shake in their cup or their shaker, and then they kind of sip on it throughout the day, and then they maybe pick at some little protein bites in the afternoon. And really, there's more benefits to eating protein between 30 to 50 grams, especially when you start your day. And it kind of sets you up for a better day. So instead of relying on the easy to digest carbohydrates, the high sugar stuff. They want you to hit between 30 and 50 grams of protein, not only for muscle protein synthesis, and if you don't know what that means, it basically means repairing your damaged muscles from workouts, but not only for muscle protein synthesis, but for controlling your eating for the rest of the day. And so you guys know I like to put simple terms around these things. I don't really like the scientific terms. I understand the scientific terms, but I like to put it in simple terms for you guys. Is how are you going to start the day? How are you going to start the day? If you have a Danish and a latte, a vanilla latte from Starbucks, very likely studies show you're probably not going to do well at lunch and supper that day. Now, if you start with a big pile of eggs, maybe a big protein shake, a protein bar, whatever, turkey bacon, you're actually aligning yourself for a better day. And that is, one, you're going to control your hunger. You're kind of setting the tone mentally, like, hey, you know what? I made good choices for breakfast, and that produces some momentum for you to make better choices in lunch and supper. So if you start the day with bad choices, mentally you're like, screw it. I'll just start tomorrow. And we've all said that before, right? Now, for the common question I get all the time, how do you get more protein? One, if you're asking that question, I don't think you like it that much, or you kind of were raised where you weren't eating it that much, and it's kind of something you have to change with your habits. You're just kind of like automatically not looking for protein. Now, I kind of grew up where we ate protein, a vegetable, and a potato. Meat and potatoes was kind of a common thing. Yes, we had, plenty of sugar and fast food or whatnot, but we always had meals like that. And so I am accustomed to always trying to find a protein source in every meal. And that's what I want you guys to do, is put a protein source in every meal. And try to have a protein source in your snacks. And if you do that, just that simple rule, you have to have a protein source, your protein's going to come way up. Some protein sources, you can Google this, but if you're like vegan or vegetarian, you have tofu, lentils, beans. If you're not vegan or vegetarian, you have all the meats. The best ones are turkey, chicken. They're very lean, but there's nothing wrong with eating, beef and some of the other fatty proteins. You have eggs. Easy ones that you can kind of keep on you at all times are like whey protein shakes, because it's a powder and a lot of them taste pretty good in just water. You don't have to have like an extravagant milk and honey and banana in a blender. Like literally a lot of the protein shakes taste pretty good in just water. You can have protein bars. You can always keep those in your lunchbox or in your desk at work and stuff. I like the Quest bars, but there's a lot of bars that are really good. I try to find the protein bar that is a good calorie to protein ratio. That's what I look for. So some of the protein bars are going to be high calorie and decent protein, but I don't want to waste the calories on a protein bar. You know what I mean? I like to save my calories for my main meals. Some other good protein sources are like Greek yogurt. That seems to be like one that I won't say universal, but a lot of people like the Greek yogurt. You can throw fruit in there, maybe a little granola, and it does. It tastes like a sweet treat and stuff. I like to have beef jerky around me. That's another one you can keep in your truck, and as long as it's in a little Ziploc container, you don't have to worry about that getting too cold or too hot. It should stay fine. There's cottage cheese is a phenomenal protein source, and that's about 50-50 between whether people really like cottage cheese or not. I used to hate it, but then I noticed that some people I followed that were really fit, and I really liked them because they were all natural bodybuilding athletes. They ate cottage cheese. I'm like, I gotta force it. And so I kind of learned to like it a little bit. You won't see me eating cottage cheese that much, but it is a phenomenal protein source. And then you can also do some research on some of these companies like Quest. And no, I'm not sponsored by Quest at all. Maybe I should be now after this podcast, but they have the Quest chips, the protein chips, whatever those are called. They have the protein cookies. They have, I think, protein pizza. Okay, so it's getting easier and easier to get your protein in. You just need to make sure that they're around you. How do you get your protein in is when you're walking around the grocery store, you just have to put your hands on the protein sources. And you might have to look at some labels and make sure that, the carb to protein ratio is a little bit better than things you were grabbing before. And so that's how you practice getting your protein. Now, I track my calories in MyFitnessPal. And so MyFitnessPal shows me my daily protein intake as I eat throughout the day. So I can kind of monitor how many grams. I go for 1 gram per body weight, roughly. And so I'm somewhere between 185 and 200 grams of protein, give or take what time of year it is and what phase I'm in versus a fat loss phase and a muscle building phase. So that's what I do, and that's what I want you guys to do to get your protein consumption up, because in the beginning of this podcast, I listed how many benefits, and I want you guys to have those benefits. One thing I do want to add about protein that I've noticed in a couple of clients and I've noticed in myself is sometimes I can be too strict. So there was a time in my life where I only ate egg whites, scrambled egg whites in the morning, chicken breast, and then honestly, probably chicken breast or turkey breast at night again. So I was just eating birds and eggs, and I was doing that every single day of my life. And honestly, I think I developed a little bit of a sensitivity to it. So now what I try to do with my protein sources is I try to hit different ones. Dairy doesn't really mess with my digestion unless I'm consuming way too much of it. So I filter between, I go back and forth between like dairy product proteins, bird proteins, beef, eggs. I try to, fish and shrimp. I really like fish and shrimp. And so I try to bounce in between them, because if you're like me and you're like, wow, this food has an incredible benefit, you want to eat it every day. That's what I did. And I developed some sensitivities. I don't think it's good to eat something that's healthy for you every single day for the rest of your life. Can you do it for a few weeks, maybe even a couple of months? Yeah, I think so. But then I think that most of us do need to change it up. 1, for variety, for our taste buds. And 2, I think your digestion will thank you. So those are my helpful tips for protein. Go seek protein. You will get better results. Think long term. There's no reason you shouldn't be eating protein. You don't have to join a gym. Hey, I got my gym membership. Now I can eat protein. No, start today. That's an easy one to start making some progress. Okay. So that's it, guys. Please leave a review. Like I said in the beginning, I would love to hear what you guys think. And that's all I have to say today. Spencer signing off.